Hey, you guys, Thomas Strong here with StrongerLawns.com. Wanted to talk to you today about products. Actually, a product I picked up, but more than about the product, it's about how to understand and make sure you're being safe when it comes to any kind of herbicides, chemicals, fungicides, whatever it is you're putting down in your lawn. So, inside of just about every single one, usually this is like glued wrapped to the front cover. And so, this one had like a laminated strip over here, and I pulled the strip off and pulled the whole manual off. So this one is for one I picked up today called pre-emergent. So usually on here, it tells us a lot of information. Most people just don't know how to understand it and don't know how to read through the essential parts. I'm going to cover a few of those things here. So for instance, over this one, pre-emergent, I'm using it as a pre-emergent for crabgrass and annual bluegrass. So here it tells us some basic stuff on the front. It's for pre-emergent control. So before we see it, to keep those seeds from germinating, pre-emergent control to be used on established turf grass and lawns. And then it tells us some other information, field-grown stuff, landscape ornamentals, hardwood seeding nurseries, established perennial. So not stuff that's been just planted, but stuff that's been established. They don't want you to use it and end up tearing your flowers up or your grass up. All right. So other part on here is telling you how much of the active ingredient is in there. So this one is a WDG, water dispersible granules. So it's a granule, but you put it in water, it becomes a solution. So it's not something you'd put into your spreader and put down on your lawn. So in the active solution, it is 65% pre-emergent. And pre-emergent goes by another name. That's a generic for a product that was called Barricade. So they do the same exact thing. All right, so that's some of the main information on the front. Sometimes you'll see some of these labels that'll tell you what the mode of action or the site of action is. And I don't see it on here yet. When we come across it, I'll point it out to you. So key thing you got to know, if things go wrong, how do I proceed? So first aid when things like that happen. But this, I always tell people, look for the PPE. And that's talking about personal protective equipment. This is what you should have on when you're applying the product to keep yourself protected. If you're a professional landscaper or a professional applicator, then if you don't have the right gear on and you get caught, it's a $2,500 fine. So it's no joke. So it says here, applicators and other handlers who handle this pesticide, you have to focus on, for any use covered by the worker protection standard, must wear long sleeve shirt and long sleeve pants. Don't go putting on shorts when you apply this. Chemical resistant gloves that have a rubber thickness of 14 mils, or some kind of neoprene rubber, or some kind of nitro rubber gloves that are 14 mils thick. Shoes and socks. Sometimes you'll see some that say rubber boots. So the thickness is 14 mils is the thickness of the material of the gloves. So I know I have some gloves that are 7 mils, and I can see if I have 14. If I don't, then what I'll do is I'll put on 2 of the 7s. Obviously, shoes and socks. They don't want any of the residue from this chemical getting on your personal body, on your skin, or anything. So if you're somebody who mixing it or loading it, so it's telling you must wear long sleeve shirt and pants, chemical resistant gloves, same thing. So exact same gear. All right. So let's see here. Other things is making sure you have on eye protection. That's also going to be something that you want to focus on as well. Other stuff here, users should. So after you apply it, make sure you're washing your hands before you eat or drink. Anything that you put in your mouth or go on the toilet. Make sure you take off the clothes immediately if the pesticide gets inside your clothes. Sorry. Making sure you guys can see this. Put on clean clothing. After you use the product, immediately wash the outside of your gloves before you remove them. So wash off your rubber gloves before you remove them. All of these are very, very key. Should not be overlooked at all. All right. It also covers some kind of other environmental issues. Like sometimes they'll tell you not to use in front of storm drains, around fishes and ponds, things like that. They obviously don't want these chemicals getting mixed in to our water supply. We're not trying to kill our environment. We're trying to make sure we have a nice, healthy looking lawn. All right, so let's open up here. So let's see some other key things. This is a repeat of what's on the front. Here it tells us how it works. And it says here, predominantly works, it controls susceptible weeds by preventing growth and development in newly germinated weed seeds. So this is what we call a growth inhibitor. And also what it does, and it says here, and it pretty much creates like a vapor barrier 1 to 2 inches below the soil. And so it's telling you it recommends, and it pretty much is activated by at least a 1/2 inch of rainfall or irrigation. So they want it watered down to that 1 to 2 inch level within 14 days of you putting it down. Best is going to be within 2 to 3 days. Don't go waiting 2 weeks, because I can tell you the product will start to degrade and break down. All right, so you don't want to go put it in the air. You don't want to put it in your feedstock. These things are pretty much simple. They also have very key mixing instructions. Let's see. I want to see if here. This is good because they've got instructions for mixing for a loose pack. They got instructions for tank mixing. They got compatibility tests. So if you're going to be mixing it with another product, chemical, herbicide, or whatever, so that way you know if they're compatible. Because if they're not, then you got to discard it. So you might do good with like a little half gallon or like a quart jug where you put a small amount of the product in there and see. Make sure you have the water in there as well too. But you want to see, when you mix the products together, are they gelling up or is it mixing in pretty smooth? And it says here, if the components do not ball up, form flakes, sludge, gels, oily films, or layers, then the mixer is compatible. Incompatibility will occur within 5 minutes. The components are not compatible. So sometimes you got to let it rest for 5 minutes before you can tell. These are key, because if you don't want to go out there and burn your yard and have your turf looking toxic and everything else, that's another key. Over here, so mixing order for tank mixtures. So that's usually what most of us will be doing, is a tank mixture to put in our hand can or our backpack sprayer. So it'll tell you, pretty much add the package, add products that are packaged in water-soluble bags first. You agitate the mixture, mix it up a little bit, stir it up, shake it up. Allow them to completely dissolve. Then you add water dispersible granules. So you add the prodiamine. So it's got detailed instructions on what you add first, second, third, and so forth. This stuff is very, very key. Why put out the money to buy this product and not apply it the right way? Here, grass seed germination date. So it's telling you, given where you live in the country, there's certain dates, generalization here, and it says here approximate time or approximate date. There are certain times of the year where it's known that the crabgrass seeds, can be annual bluegrass, whatever undesirable grasses that are germinating, but those seeds are going to germinate. So you want to look to see where you are. Like I'm here in Maryland, so I am in the second area here. So those seeds germinate after May 10th. Now usually it's best to apply the product 2 weeks before the germination date. Not wait until then, because if you wait until then it's just too late. So that's going to be one of the key things you want to make sure you're looking out for. So if I see that around May 10th is when those seeds start to germinate, I'm going to make sure I have my product down on the ground, in the ground and ready to roll before then. The other thing when it comes to these grasses, they will germinate when the soil temperatures reach 50 to 55 degrees. So don't wait until it's 50 to 55 degrees in the soil temperature. You want to do it beforehand. Here it's showing us how much control do you want to have. How long do you want the product to be active in your soil? Is it 2 months? Is it 4 months? Is it 6 months? Is it 8 months? And then you're going to know how many pounds per acre. There's also conversions if you're doing pounds per 1,000 square feet. But depending upon how long you want coverage is how long you put it down. So for me, it is February now. I know that I plan on planting new seed in the fall. So that's going to be roughly September, early to mid-September. I don't want my coverage to spill into that time frame. So I'm probably going to shoot for it's already 2 months in, September, 7 months. So like 6 months worth of coverage. So if I look up here on the chart, that's 1.15 pounds per acre. So now we'll go in and do the conversion for pounds per 1,000 square feet and know that I'm going to be covered then. Here it's just going to give you a list of the various grasses, pre-emergent wise grasses that it's going to give you coverage for. Here, and it's showing you the same thing. Here's another thing you can do if you know what region you live in. So I know Maryland is what they call a transition region. And so here it's telling me, hey, in the transition region, it says interval months before overseeding. So if I know how many months before I'm going to overseed, it's going to tell me 1.5 pounds of product per acre. So I'm going to be anywhere between that pound 0.15 to pound 0.5. So 1.5 range. All right. So other parts that are key in here, let's see. All right, so here's another part when it comes to mixing the product. On this, right up at the top, equivalent measurements. So it's already told me how many pounds per acre. Here it tells me how many ounces per 1,000 square feet. So I'd have to break out my scale or measuring container and see, okay, how many ounces per 1,000 square feet. So then you got to do some math. I know my lawn's 16,000 square feet. So whatever number I get here, I'd multiply it by 16 and I'd do my mixture. But first, I know in my backpack sprayer, it's 4 gallons. So usually 1 gallon of water covers 1,000 square feet. So I know for roughly every gallon, I would do 1.5 tablespoons or 0.55 ounces. Then it's just simple multiplication from there. But this is key because you can't go doing the shotgun approach and just dumping everything down there and not know what you're doing and then just hoping for the best. The rest of this is just various weeds that it controls. Their trade names or scientific names. All right, but that's what I wanted to cover today. This manual doesn't show the mode of action. That is key. I told you earlier from how it described it, what is it used for? And it says here how it works in preventing growth and development of newly germinated weed seeds. And so if you know anything about modes of action and sites of action, you know that that's what growth regulators do. So they control the rate of growth. They keep them from germinating. So that's one of the keys when it comes to the prodiamine. All right, so this video went longer than I expected, but nonetheless, we covered everything I needed. So let me pop this out here. All right, so that's everything for today. Thanks for checking out this video. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Definitely leave us a comment below. But all right, this is Thomas Strong from StrongerLawns.com talking to you guys today about reading labels for your packaging, for your products and your herbicides that you're putting down on your lawn to make sure you're safe and you're getting the right amount of coverage for whatever you're putting it down for. All right, have a good one.